How many people would like to have more passion in their relationships, huh? So I'm going to talk about that today, and my new book, Behind Closed Doors, The Truth About Intimate Relationships and How to Create Them, tells you the steps to go through to create more substance, more spirituality, more connection, and more passion and love in your relationships. So I'd like to start by saying that passion is something that people think often of sex, sexuality, romance, but passion is often created a lot to our values, a lot where we feel fulfillment, where we feel excitement, enthusiasm in life. And one of the keys to passion, having more passion in a relationship, I'm going to say a bad word here, is anger. Now there's something interesting. Most people say, anger? No, I don't want it. Because people don't realize the difference between anger and rage. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But I've got some diagrams because I'm a teacher and a trainer from way back, and my friend Lynn here is going to help me. And I've got all these pictures in my book. But I want to start like this. Why don't you come on down here, Lynn? Hold that. And let's look at a model for a healthy relationship first, and then I'll get to the anger and the passion in a moment. What I like to use is a house, and I think our former speaker spoke about going home and having a sense of house, and we think about the privacy and feeling of home and connection in our relationships. If I were to look at this diagram, what you have here is boundaries and differentiation. So there's a you, there's a me, and there's a we. Now this can be with your partner. This can be in a business relationship, with a friendship, any relationship that you have. But today, given that we're talking about passion, let's talk about a spousal relationship or a relationship with a partner. So there we are. I've got a heterosexual one with a man and a woman. If you look on this side, you see that the foundation is solid. And I'm talking emotional, spiritual foundation here. So that's solid. And inside the house there's fly screens, so that represents boundaries. And this person here on each side, they've got a fairly good sense of esteem, who I am. They know what their needs are, and they meet them. They're not looking for their partner to meet their needs. We have boundaries. I know what I want. I know who I am, and I'm available for intimacy. How many relationships have you gotten into in the past with someone that wasn't available for intimacy? And intimacy is an interesting word, which I talk a lot about in the book. If I were to use a generic word for intimacy, clients that come to me, I do a lot of couples counseling, they come in and they say, we've lost our connection. The enthusiasm's dead. And the sex, of course, goes out the window as well with that. But we've lost our connection. So connection is a generic word for intimacy. And that's what I'm going to talk about. And there's all kinds of intimacy. There's intellectual intimacy, where we have like-mindedness and we spar with each other. There's emotional intimacy, where we connect through some of our values. There's physical, sexual intimacy, somebody to do something with. I like doing things with you. I like touching you. I like you touching me. And of course, sexual intimacy as well. And then spiritual intimacy. Where do I connect in my spirit so that I can support you to be all that you are and you can support me to be all that I am? This is missing a lot in relationships today. Really missing a lot, because I hear it. For like 25 years I've been doing this, and what I have the privilege of, when people come behind closed doors in the therapist's office, what they present to the world and what is really going on behind closed doors in their relationship are two very different things. Yet what I find is that when people are single and they're feeling ashamed, or they've had a broken relationship or divorce, they'll often say, they'll compare their insides to somebody else's outsides. And you look at those other people, oh, they must be happy, what a beautiful looking couple. So it's not real for a lot, and it's a facade, and yet even behind that facade there's a lot of loneliness that goes on. So this is a healthy model. In the center, it's like a relationship is a different entity. What we have, I put some components here, 6 components that are essential to having a healthy relationship, to having a close relationship, a satisfying relationship. The first one is connection, as I talked about, intimacy, being able to have that and finding all different types of intimacy. The second one is commitment. Now, you would be surprised, and people do their marriage vows or they say we're committing to this, you would be surprised that people do not have the same commitment to one another and commitment to where they're going as a couple in their life. So it doesn't matter what the commitment is. What I find is that people don't understand clearly because they haven't done the third one, communication. And communication is, I want to tell you I teach programs and courses on communication. There's a very powerful statement. The meaning of my communication is the response I get. So if you start to think about that and you say, well, if I'm not getting the responses I want from my partner, maybe it's up to me to have the responsibility to say, can I communicate differently to reach them? So looking at it like that, and also when we have boundaries like we have over here, to have an authentic connection and intimacy in a relationship, there's two general ways to look at in our communication. That I speak to be known in that moment. So in other words, these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, this is what I want to do or not do. So I'm being honest with you. I'm speaking to be known. I'm not speaking to manipulate you to get you to do what I want to do. I'm letting you know how it is for me, and I can detach and let go of, well, you can do without as you want or feel about it if I'm upset about something. And I listen when it comes back to me to find out who that person is in that moment. So that's communication with boundaries. Conflict resolution, this is part of the passion I'm going to talk to you about, and the anger. Conflict is a part of every relationship, a part of everything in life. And you say, well, why? Well, because conflict means that you have the opportunity to grow. If you look in Buddhism, they talk about the third law. I've got my way, you've got your way, I want to go right, you want to go left, and we want to be together. How do we do that one? There's something there to problem solve. So we could bang our heads together like this, or we can chunk up to a higher order of thinking and be able to resolve that conflict. So conflict comes up when there's something to grow and expand. We know this in business, ladies. Whenever business things come up, people will say, oh, there's an opportunity. But it's the same thing in our relationships. Same thing. So I need to have a system, a format, a way, some guidelines of how we resolve conflict. And we need to agree on that together. Trust. You know, I start in my book, I talk about, people are you having an affair? Are you misappropriating funds? Do you know somebody that is? And that's what people think break up relationships. But it's the withheld communication, the things that aren't said, that become the betrayals in relationships. I've seen it for 25 years. Sure, we have those other big things, but it's the everyday that we're dying on the vine in the passion. And you would be amazed at how many people come in and they haven't had sex in 4 or 5, 6 years in their relationship. Why would you want to have sex with someone you don't like, or you have built up resentments? Because I don't have a way to resolve conflict, and I've started to now not trust.